What's going on, YouTube? Culturedog Sam Hatch back here with another Laserdisc update video. And I had been chilling out, limiting my collection for the most part for a bit there. Things have been a little bit tight, and I'm trying to rein in the collection a bit, but I still want to have some product here to show you guys too. So luckily, a couple things kind of fell into play for me recently, and WWUH was just a simple trade, one disc for one disc trade with Omar Lopez Nunez. Shout out to Omar from Laserdisc Forever on Facebook. If you are not on there yet and you are a Laserdisc fan or just interested in getting up and running with the hobby, then definitely stop over there and request a membership, and it will happen eventually. The mods there are pretty cool about making sure that you get your stuff up and running, but sometimes it could take a little while. But anyways, it was one disc that I never had on Laserdisc. I had it on VHS because it was a big deal when this hit home video. It was one of the first times a big summer blockbuster had been issued on VHS in time for the holiday shopping season by that Christmas. So this Laserdisc is actually from about a year later, I think 1990. But I have had it on VHS and DVD and strangely never in Laserdisc. So Omar hooked me up with a copy of Batman. And it's always cool how you can barely tell the difference between this and the Prince soundtrack LP. Though it does have some Warner Brothers information down there in the bottom. It doesn't even tell you about the widescreen info until the backside over here. But yeah, it kind of looks like a 1990 widescreen Warner Brothers LD should look. I really kind of like the vibe of it. I already flipped through it and checked it out, no router or anything like that. Really fun disc. And now I'm lamenting the fact that I got rid of my Batman Returns because I had a nice copy of that, and I donated it. And now I'm like, I kind of wish I had Batman Returns on Laserdisc, and that one's a notorious rotter. But hey, I'm glad to have the original Tim Burton Batman. And then I just happened to trip across some discs very locally in Craigslist, and in fact, like 5 minutes down the street from where I work. It's been really dry lately. There hasn't been much going on, or the people that do have things are just expecting tons and tons of money from their discs. So that was just a gentleman who had a broken CLD D502 and like an old 80s single side Pioneer, and then a bunch of opera discs, maybe like 40 or so opera discs, and of course Pink Floyd Pulse and a few other things. He wanted like 600, 700 for the entire lot. I'm like, yeah, right. Sorry there, buddy. He wanted like $80 alone for Pink Floyd Pulse. I'm like, well, you better hope it's not a DADC pressing because it's going to be Rat City. But yeah, so there's been a lot of really disappointing stuff like that out there. Unfortunately, just unrealistic prices, and I'm not even going to get involved in that. It was a really killer lot that I was actually interested in making a move on that was within an hour's drive from me, but that just suddenly dissipated into thin air. Not sure what happened with that, but it's funny. The one down the street, I was going back and forth with the guy selling, and all of a sudden I saw the name he signed off on from maybe the third or fourth email go around. I'm like, wait, I know that dude. I'm sure it's probably him. I mean, it's not like it's a really obscure name, but so I happened to jump on Facebook, and I'm like, are you the dude hustling Laserdisc on Craigslist? And he's like, yeah. He was recently going through a split with his wife and was deciding to just kind of pare down some stuff, and he doesn't really watch his Laserdiscs anymore anyways, so he thought they'd go to a good home, and I was like, all right, we'll definitely put them to good home. But hilariously, I just seen him a week before. We were talking about Craigslist, we were talking about Laserdisc, but never once mentioned, oh yeah, I'm looking to get rid of my Laserdiscs. So we had to go through this weird kind of Craigslist thing to find one another, even though we're buds. But yeah, so he had a bunch of stuff, really nice condition. Most of it still had its shrink wrap on, which of course I tore off. But yeah, they've just been sitting around for a while. So, one owner, and he took good, care of his stuff. And this is a release that I had at one time and gave away. But now it's back. I had originally picked this up through Columbia House when it came out, which was, when was this? Oh, 94. But the special edition of Close Encounters of the Third Kind, there's actually a box set of this that I rarely see. I don't think I've even seen a copy in person, but Online it shows up every once in a while. I should really get that just to be a knucklehead, really, because I do have the box set from Criterion. But yeah, this is the redone 1980 special edition, which shows you what goes on when Roy goes inside the spaceship, etc., and some other scenes added. But now I've got the Blu-ray that has every single version of the film, the final cut, the special edition, the theatrical cut, and so yeah, this is no longer super needed, but also surprisingly rot-free because it is a Columbia Pictures Sony disc. But yeah, so rot-free is nice. Also got a copy. Sadly, it's not widescreen because I've actually been looking for this. It's a little more beat up because he had picked it up from an old rental place. But Ken Branagh's dead again. Still, at one point, I'm hoping to get the widescreen version. I mean, it's actually in good shape, but there's just some kind of sticker residue there that I gotta try and get off with some Goo Gone. But yeah, if anybody's got a widescreen copy of this, let me know. I'm looking for it. And apparently he's a big Ken Branagh fan because he also had this HBO video release, Peter's Friends, which I seem to remember hearing some buzz about this back when it came out in the 90s, but I never saw it. And I think it's Rita Rudner and Ken Branagh and Stephen Fry in there, and who else? Melda Staunton, Emma Thompson, of course. But yeah, I'm gonna have to check that out. And another one I remembered hearing about back in the day, but totally forgot about, and in really great condition here. But it's a film from Allison Anders, who, of course, was one of the directors in who did Mi Vida Loca, and one of the directors of the four in Four Rooms. But this is a flick with Ileana Douglas called Grace of My Heart. So very cool stuff. Also has Matt Dillon, Eric Stoltz, and John Turturro. About a songwriter that stands in the shadows of the stars, that sort of thing. But looks pretty cool. And this is something fun to have on Laserdisc. It's widescreen even. So. And then, speaking of things I had given away and now came back, I actually like this jacket better, and it's completely mint. There's maybe a little bit of a tiny ding in this corner. But Tim Burton's Beetlejuice. I had the other non-widescreen version that had the big, ugly silver banner. Warner was really weird with that. They would kind of reissue their pan and scan or open mat, or depending on the title, releases. Sometimes they would have a silver banner on it, then they would reissue it with the full cover artwork, and then eventually they'd reissue a widescreen AC3 version with the full cover artwork again. But yeah, that's got the silver banner on the other side. But it's just a gorgeous jacket. I'm going to hold on to this for a while. There is another later letterbox copy that I'll probably hunt down at some point. And this was totally sealed, and I'm eventually going to hustle it. Not that anybody needs it, but you can't have too many copies of Speed, Yondabont goodness. Yeah, comes free with every lot. So this one definitely met that criteria. And I got another copy of, and this one's similarly kind of split on the seams as my other one, but Peter Weir's Dead Poet Society. This is not the version that came out later that has all the extra scenes, and it's just 1.33 to 1. I can't remember if this is 1.85 to 1 in theaters, but I don't know if it's fully pan and scan or not, but I don't remember it being a scope picture. But yeah, so now I've got 2 copies of this. I'll probably end up moving at some point. And a bonus copy of, because I already had one from another lot, but I brought one to work. Letterboxed Glory, Edward Zwick film with Morgan Freeman and Matthew Broderick. And I have not seen that in a while, but now I got it. And of course, can't be a lot without another copy of Jurassic Park. Somebody needs a CLV copy of this, let me know. It's gatefold. Of course, everybody's probably seen this 300 times, but... And this one I didn't have. I'm probably going to sell this one too, but it's just a kind of best of Looney Tunes curtain calls. Really, really good shape. And a couple other cool items that were still in the shrink, those slit on the sides. Yeah, Miramar and Image put these out. These used to be pretty easy to find on DVD all the time too, but they tried to make a kind of narrative out of it, but it's really just a bunch of CG shorts and commercials and stuff pieced together. But The Gate to the Mind's Eye with music by Thomas Dolby, which is pretty cool. But yeah, I've got this on DVD as well, I do believe. And of course, you can't have that without Beyond the Mind's Eye. Same thing. More disparate CG elements kind of pieced together into, a movie. This time with Jan Hammer doing the scoring. But yeah, they were in great shape. And speaking of Thomas Dolby, I was the most psyched about this, and I've already watched it once and probably going to watch it again shortly. Digital sound on this one. Thomas Dolby, the golden age of video, and really, it's just killer stuff. It goes up to the Aliens Ate My Buick kind of era. And it's even got field work with Ryuichi Sakamoto on here, and just killer song after killer song. Really good stuff. 12 videos from, when was this pressed? 1989, this disc, it looks like. But yeah, awesome stuff. And actually, yeah, time to get chill. You got Life, Promise, Pride, Love from Sade. So yeah, it's time to get some smooth operator action in here. Man, yeah, Sweetest Taboo as well. Good stuff. Haven't heard that in a while. Also, I've never seen this before, so actually, this was a cool grab. It is a early 90s release, a history of Genesis. So, pretty cool stuff. It's even got some Peter Gabriel tracks in there, and of course some Phil Collins stuff. Yeah, looking forward to checking this out. And speaking of the devil, some Phil Collins stuff. There's some stress fractures in this one, but otherwise good condition. But no ticket required. Live Phil Collins stuff. So, looking forward to checking that out. And what else? I think one of the other previous lots, I had a disc that I had brought to work that I forgot to show you guys. It's an American movie classic directed by Alan Smithee. The Birds 2, Land's End. Yes, if you love Hitchcock, you'll love Alan Smithee. So that was cool. And then I got a notice from my boy Peter Biancardi. Shout out to Peter! That he had a bunch of stuff he was going to be sending my way. So I said, oh, cool. And he had a couple comments he was wondering if I was interested in. So I picked up a few of those from his pile. He'd got a really, really big lot of stuff. And then, yeah, a lot of TV show stuff. So, yeah, it's going to be a little bit to slog through all that. But first, the comment stuff. A title I can't believe I didn't have already. It's total mid-90s cheesetasticness, and I should really do a Laserdisc Spotlight review on it. Frank Marshall's Congo, based on the Michael Crichton novel, which was kind of equally disappointing. But yeah, still fun-ish B-movie action, good cast, and Bruce Campbell's in it for 5 minutes, so you can't go wrong with that. And still looking for an Austrian DADC pressing of this with no rot. This one, sadly, of course, is rotted because it's from DADC USA, which is Sony's plant that was notorious for pressing bad discs. But Sandra Bullock in the net and total 90s stuff. I mean, you gotta own this on Laserdisc. I mean, it would seem silly for me to get a Blu-ray of it. I mean, it just shines on Laserdisc. And who did that? Oh, Erwin Winkler directed that. And also, I left Passenger 57 at work, but he hooked me up with Passenger 57, and very, very excited about this, even though I've got it on multiple other formats. But I really wanted to get a rot-free copy of Gattaca, another Columbia release, and yeah, rot-free. So wicked cool that Peter was able to make that happen. So now I've got a nicer copy of that. And before we go over to my work, I'll show you all the TV stuff that he had sent over. I did get one other disc in the mail this week, which is, interestingly, a Pioneer video tuning fork release. It's just in a pretty much white thing. It looks like one of those old white label, bootleg LPs you'd get with some house music on it. But video tuning fork part 3. And there's a whole kind of, nothing really there. There's a whole series of these suckers, and this is basically a video incarnation of the tuning fork manuals that they would send out on a regular basis that would give you information about all the new products, and this one in particular is about the CLD line of Laserdisc players and tells you how to fix them and all sorts of stuff like that. And this one in particular is Basic Technology of CLD Players Part 3. CLD player signal processing. Really cool stuff, and it has a lot of great footage on there that shows you exactly what crosstalk is, etc. So actually, I just ran into a gentleman who has a channel on YouTube and occasionally makes some copies like from the analog stream from inside the player. I don't even think he goes through the composite jack on the back. But some of the things he's been putting up are older discs like this. Unfortunately, they always seem to end up a little warped when you get them in the mail, so I'm going to have to flatten this sucker. And he likewise had another really, really cool disc that shows how to repair one of the lower end early 90s Pioneer players, but really invaluable information with a lot of great photos and video. But yeah, so this is likewise amazing stuff. So I talked with him, and he's got this whole series already ripped. So I think he's going to be putting those on YouTube shortly, which will be very cool. In the meantime, I'm still probably going to try and collect them all on Laserdisc anyways. It's so cool to have a Laserdisc like tutorial on Laserdisc. So it's really essentially the same thing as going back in time and taking a Pioneer course, back in the mid to early 90s. So wicked cool. And that's about it, except I do have one other thing, which I think I'm going to save for later. I think I know something cool we can do with that. But yeah, Peter also hooked me up with an Instalection, as I like to call it, instant collection of classic Star Trek stuff, a little bit of Prisoner stuff, etc. So yeah, I figured that would be fun. There's a ton of Star Trek guys at the office that are going to love that stuff, and the episodes are pretty much lunch size. So perfect for the office, take a little bit of a breather and hang out with Captain Kirk, etc. So we're going to head on over to the office and check out the rest of the collection, the Star Trek Instalection. All right, we're going to start with the movies here, going actually backwards, but First Contact, the 8th film of the series. These jackets are a little bit beat, except for one or two, and Star Trek Generations, both of which I already have in my other collection back at home, so I figured it'd be fun for all the Trek nerds at the office to be able to watch some movies. Star Trek 6, this one was actually still in the shrink, so it's in pretty good condition, and really cool flick. And of course, yes, when Kirk was in a emo band with all that eyeshadow. Star Trek 5, The Final Junkie Frontier. I haven't revisited that in a while. If I do, though, it'll be in the widescreen one. Star Trek 4, The Voyage Home. That cover art reminds me of my old VHS tape I had picked up. Classic. Star Trek 3, The Search for Spock. Again, more pan and scan stuff, but it'll be fun just to have a pan and scan beater in the office. Star Trek, The Wrath of Khan. I actually like that photo montage or collage cover art. It's pretty cool. Favorite of all these Star Trek films. And everybody's favorite, Star Trek The Motion Picture, the special longer version. Ooh, you saw a little sneak peek back there. Yes, when Peter B. McCarty isn't hooking me up with Star Trek stuff, he hooks us up with MC Hammer at the office. Adam's Groove is a horrible song that most people have forgotten about, including myself and my coworkers, and we watched it and laughed our butts off. Multiplicity, I had gotten that in the previous lot and forgot to show it. It's a known rotter, so I haven't actually checked it, so it's probably rotted. And Peter also hooked up the video Too Legit to Quit for Hammer. Is amazing. This has been the source of much hilarity and joy in the office. Anyways, into the Star Trek episodes. Where No Man Has Gone Before and The Naked Time. And I do believe these discs are ordered more production order as opposed to air date. The Man Trap and Charlie X. Charlie's such a punk. These were actually all released starting in 1985, concurrently with the VHS releases. Next is What Are Little Girls Made Of and Mary. And the VHS releases, hilariously, were about $40 and only had one episode on them, and these discs were only $30. Dagger in the Mind, Corbomite Maneuver. I mean, contrast that and compare it with what you can get on a Blu-ray with an entire season on one small package. Paramount was very, very money hungry in their Star Trek releases. Shore Leave, the Galileo 7. I'm missing a few of these things. There's, I don't know, like 40-something discs total. But maybe I'll pick those up. Squire Gothos and Arena classic. I was a big Gorn fan when I was a kid. I always thought he was the coolest. I mean, obviously I was happy Kirk might have bested them. What else we got on here? Oh, City on the Edge of Forever and the Alternative Factor. I think City on the Edge of Forever has some altered musical cues because of rights. Taste of Armageddon and This Side of Paradise. I think these discs were old rentals. So you can even see there's like an embossed kind of circle on the front jacket I'd never seen before. But they'll still be watchable. The Return of the Archons and Space Seed. I noticed the elephant condoms were pretty heavily fingered. So, Devil in the Dark. Love that Horda action. And Errand of Mercy. And the cool thing is they're like lunch-sized. So, they're like, less than an hour long. You can watch on a lunch break. Operation Annihilate and Amok Time. Amok Time, some classic stuff. Catspaw, the first Star Trek episode I ever saw. I was at a campground and it rained outside, so they pushed us inside and showed us a 16mm version. And the Doomsday Machine on that as well. I'm Mud, nice. And Metamorphosis. Oh yeah, you can kind of see the embossing there on the front of the jacket and the glare. It's pretty cool. I should emboss my Laserdisc jackets. And Journey to Babel and Friday's Child. I remember people who would collect these things on VHS, and it was an insane amount of tapes on your shelf. Mirror Mirror and The Apple. All clamshells too, and it was just it was how you decorated your home apparently. Wolf in the Fold and The Trouble with Tribbles. Classic stuff. Obsession and The Deadly Years. And just these discs alone take up a hefty amount of this cabinet, but I can only imagine all those tapes. The Ultimate Computer and Bread and Circuses. I was a big Bread and Circuses fan when I was a kid too. I was really into it. It also helped that the old Star Trek blooper reels had quite a bit of moments from that episode. The Gamesters of Triskelion and a piece of the action. Yeah, man. Give me your heater. Want your heater. What else? I'll Return to Tomorrow, Patterns of Force. I always love how they conveniently always wound up either back on Earth and back in time for some reason. Something that, could be shot on a local Hollywood backlot. The Enterprise Incident and The Paradise Syndrome. Gonna have to look for some of the episodes I'm missing here and get a complete collection. Assignment Earth and Spock's Brain. And, mega thanks to Peter for I call it the Instalection, because, it's just about the whole thing right there. The Empath and Ilsan of Troilus. And, Melvin Belli and The Children Shall Lead. And, Is There in Truth No Beauty? I don't know. You've seen a reference to that if you've watched Zodiac, David Fincher's. For the world is hollow and I have touched the sky. Why is there not an emo band with that as their band name? And the Tholian Web. Finally, we're about to wind down. Plato's Stepchildren and Wink of an Eye. So many discs. And just 3 seasons. The Mark of Gideon and That Which Survives. I remember watching these all on the local UHF channels back when I was a kid. Whom Gods Destroy and Let That Be Your Last Battlefield. They'd always be airing with like Wild Wild West and the old Batman series. The Way to Eden and The Cloudminders. Cloudminders, we could use some of those now. So much of my information is stored there, so mind it. The Savage Curtain and All Our Yesterdays. Hey, I think we're finally done with the classic track. Also, we'll get a couple other things. TV stuff. I don't know if you remember, in the 80s, Showtime had a fairy tale theater, which had a lot of famous people. So, I forgot it. The Boy Left Home to Find Out About the Shivers. I think Frank Zappa's in this one. Yeah, that's one fairy tale you don't hear a lot about. And Rapunzel. Artwork's pretty killer on these things. Obviously, they got a ton of shelf wear, and they've been through a lot. But, cool design there. And back to Star Trek Next Gen, Unification 1 and 2, that one where Spock infiltrated the Romulans to unify the Romulans and the Vulcans. Haven't seen that in a dog's age. So maybe I'll fire that up. And some earlier Star Trek Next Gen, The Naked Now. Yeah, the one where Data gets laid. Yeah, good stuff. And was that Code of Honor? And also threw in a couple Prisoner discs. The Chimes of Big Ben. Fantastic stuff. Love The Prisoner. Patrick McGowan is the man. Classic series. I've got them all on Blu-ray, of course. That was a different image version. This is a later pressing. This is Volume 8. And The Girl Who Was Death, Once Upon a Time. And then Volume 9, which has Fallout and the Prisoner Video Companion, which I have to check out. But some pretty cool artwork on these. I like these later image pressings. So thanks again to Peter Biancardi, and thanks to you all for sticking through all these Laserdiscs. Cheers!